The night before my wedding, I found a second phone in my fiancée's bag. At first I thought it was just a work phone, but when it started ringing at 2:14 in the morning, the name on the screen made my blood run cold. It said, "Husband." And the worst part? That husband wasn't me. Up until that moment, I thought my life was exactly where it was supposed to be. I was 32, had a stable job in software development, and in less than 24 hours I was supposed to marry the woman I believed was the love of my life. Her name was Lena. We had been together for almost 3 years, and from the very beginning, everything between us felt effortless. We met at a small bookstore cafe on a rainy afternoon. I had gone there to work on a project, but the internet was slow and the place was nearly empty. Lena sat at the table next to mine. She asked if I had a charger. I did. That simple moment turned into a 2-hour conversation. She was funny, sharp, and had this calm confidence that immediately drew me in. By the time we left the cafe, I already knew I wanted to see her again. 2 days later, we had our first date. 3 months later, we were inseparable. 1 year later, we moved in together. And 6 months after that, I proposed. Everything felt natural, like the universe had quietly placed the right person in my life. My friends loved her. My parents loved her. Even my skeptical older sister once said, "Don't mess this up. Girls like her don't come often." So I didn't. I gave the relationship everything. Time, trust, commitment, which is why what happened the night before our wedding completely shattered me. The evening before the ceremony was supposed to be calm. Our families were already in town. The venue had been prepared. Lena had gone to dinner with her bridesmaids. I stayed at our apartment to finish a few last-minute things. Around midnight, I started packing a small bag for the hotel where we planned to stay after the wedding. That's when I noticed Lena's purse on the kitchen chair. It was slightly open, and inside, something unfamiliar caught my eye. A phone. Not her usual phone. This one was older. A black device with a cracked corner on the screen. At first I assumed it was something she had borrowed from someone. Maybe one of the bridesmaids. I picked it up. The screen was locked, so I put it back and didn't think about it again. At least not until 2 hours later.
2:14 a.m.
The phone started ringing. The sound was loud in the quiet apartment. I woke up instantly. For a second I was confused. Then I remembered the phone in Lena's bag. Still half asleep, I walked to the kitchen. The screen lit up, and that's when I saw the contact name. Husband. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen for several seconds, hoping my brain had misunderstood something. Maybe it said something else. Maybe I was still dreaming. But the phone kept vibrating, and the words stayed the same. Husband. My hands started shaking. Lena and I were supposed to get married in less than 12 hours. So why would another phone in her bag have a contact named Husband? The call stopped. Silence returned to the apartment. For a long moment I just stood there, staring at the device. Part of me wanted to ignore it, pretend I never saw it. But another part of me knew that if I didn't check now, I would spend the rest of my life wondering. So I picked up the phone and tried to unlock it. To my surprise, it worked. No password. The home screen opened immediately. My heart pounded harder. I opened the messages, and everything changed. The message thread with husband was long. Dozens of messages. Some recent, some months old. The most recent message read, "Call me when you can. Miss you." My chest tightened. I scrolled upward. Photos, plans, conversations about meeting. Then I saw something that made my knees feel weak. A message from 2 days earlier. After the wedding, we can finally stop pretending. Pretending? My brain struggled to process what I was reading. Then I opened the contact information. The name of the person attached to husband appeared on the screen. Daniel. I had never heard that name before. I sat down slowly at the kitchen table. The room suddenly felt colder. My mind started racing. Was Lena cheating on me? Was this some kind of sick joke? Or was there something much worse happening? I kept scrolling. And then I found the message that made everything feel unreal. 3 years is a long time to play this role, but it's almost over. 3 years. That was exactly how long Lena and I had been together. At that moment, I realized something terrifying. This relationship, our entire relationship, might not have been real. Lena came home around 3:30 a.m. I was still sitting at the kitchen table. The phone lay in front of me. She froze the moment she saw it. Her expression changed instantly. "Where did you find that?" Her voice sounded calm, but her eyes were filled with panic. "In your bag," I said quietly. Silence filled the room. Then I asked the question that had been echoing in my head for the past hour. "Who is Daniel?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she sat down across from me. For a long moment, she just stared at the table. Then she sighed and said something I never expected. "It's not what you think." I almost laughed, because that sentence never means anything good. "Really?" I said. "Because from what I read, it looks exactly like what I think." She shook her head slowly. "No, it's worse." My heart started beating faster. "Explain." Lena took a deep breath. Then she said the words that completely shattered my world. "Daniel is my husband." Everything went silent. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "What?" She repeated it calmly. "Daniel is my husband." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline, but it never came. "How long?" My voice sounded strange, even to me. 7 years, she said. 7 years. That meant she had been married 4 years before she even met me. "Then what was I?" I asked. Her answer came quietly. "A plan." I felt anger rising in my chest. "What does that even mean?" Lena rubbed her temples. "Daniel and I were drowning in debt." She looked up at me. "Millions." My brain struggled to keep up. "And that has what to do with me?" She hesitated. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. "You were supposed to save us." I frowned. "How?" Her eyes filled with guilt. "Your family." Suddenly everything clicked. My father owned a successful construction company. Everyone in town knew it. "You targeted me?" I said slowly. She nodded. "The original plan was simple." Her voice shook slightly. "Get close to you. Gain your trust. Marry you." My stomach twisted. "And then," she looked away. "Divorce. And take half." I stood up so fast the chair fell behind me. "You spent 3 years pretending to love me?" Tears appeared in her eyes. "At first, yes." The room spun slightly. "But then something changed," she continued. "I actually fell in love with you." I laughed bitterly. "That's convenient." "It's true," she said. "Daniel doesn't believe me either." I looked at the phone on the table. So the plan was still happening. "No," she said quickly. "I was going to stop it after the wedding." "How?" "I was going to tell you everything." I stared at her. "You waited until the night before the wedding to confess?" She didn't answer, because we both knew the truth. She wasn't planning to tell me. The phone had just exposed her. I looked at the clock. 4:07 a.m. Our wedding ceremony was supposed to begin at noon. In 8 hours. My family, her friends, the entire venue. Everyone would be there, waiting. And suddenly I realized something strange. Despite everything I had just learned, part of me still loved her. That's the cruel thing about betrayal. Feelings don't disappear instantly, but trust does. And once trust is gone, everything else collapses. I picked up the phone and opened the conversation with Daniel. Then I typed a message. Don't worry, the wedding is still happening. See you there. Lena looked at the screen. What are you doing? I looked at her calmly. Ending this. The next morning, the wedding venue was full. Family, friends, music, flowers. Everything looked perfect. Except one thing. There was no bride. At exactly noon, I walked to the front of the room. Everyone looked confused. Then I took the microphone and told them the truth. Every single detail. Gasps filled the room. My mother started crying. My father looked furious. And Lena? She was standing near the entrance, listening to everything. When I finished, I said one final sentence. This wedding was supposed to be the biggest mistake of my life. I paused. But now it's the luckiest escape I've ever had. Then I walked out. Later that day, I received one final message. From Daniel. It read, "Looks like the plan failed." I replied with 4 words. Your wife chose wrong. He never answered, and I never saw Lena again. But sometimes late at night, I still think about one question. If I hadn't found that second phone, would I have married her? And the most terrifying part is, I think I would have.